So, in a crazy turn of events in my ever ongoing ABS light debacle, I think I finally diagnosed what it actually is. As you can see, the lights are currently off. And what I determined from a lot of research and a lot of testing is that all the inputs to the brake control module are perfectly fine. And the interesting thing is the wheel speed sensors on an OBD scanner show fine. You know, the signal's good. However, I believe the front right wheel bearing is ever so slightly bad, and it's just enough that it must flake the sensor signal, and it only takes like 200 milliseconds for it to throw the ABS light. And if you're going around a left-hand turn, so you're putting pressure on the right-hand wheel, and you are hitting the brakes or just driving around the city and hitting bumps, it seems as though that's when the light will finally throw itself on again. And I felt the bearing. The bearing has zero play. It doesn't make any noise. The bearing itself isn't really bad, but there's just something that's a little bit off. And kind of what I did to test this was I wound up putting 2 new wheel speed sensors in for $20. And really that was just mostly an excuse to clean the wheel speed sensor surface area, check out the tone ring, look for any grease and debris in there that, is like directly on the tone ring. So I really wasn't much of that, but I cleaned all that off, put the new sensors in. Presumably they're at a better height because I cleaned the rust out from underneath them, and it's working a lot better, which tells me I absolutely changed found the root of the problem, right? Like I went from having the light on 100% of the time to now it barely comes back on here and there. So we're definitely onto it. I just think, unfortunately, it needs a new wheel bearing. It only has 60,000 miles on the front wheel bearings, but they're like COVID-era parts. And unfortunately, and I hate to sound like a boomer, but they don't make them like they used to. But it's true. Brand new aftermarket and probably OEM parts for vehicles are genuinely just not made like they used to be. And I'm hoping by now they're good again, post-COVID era, whatever. But if you bought a part in that like mid-2020 to 2020, early 2022 era, you don't know what you were getting. And unfortunately, I did a lot of work on this truck around that time, because that's when it needed a bunch of stuff, and I got screwed. It is what it is. So try to buy quality parts the best you can, OEM where you can, well-known aftermarket brands where you can, and the rest is just going to be what it's going to be. I emailed Timken Bearing, to see if I can get it warranted, because it only has 60K on it. I'm sure they're going to tell me to pound salt, but it's worth a shot.